So we're going to go through a dip dynamic isometric using the box. So for this exercise, I'll break it down into 3 zones. Zone 1, taking the bottom of our dip position, so being down here. Zone 2, sort of midway up here, and then zone 3, just shy of completely finishing that position from coming all the way back up. So with this exercise, I want to be spending a bit of time in all of those 3 zones. Now, while I'm in each zone, the intent is to constantly be moving into as many various areas as possible. So I'm going to be down here to begin with, and as I'm down here, I'm going to be moving around. So I could play with shuffling or moving myself to the sides. Okay, I can also play with moving forwards, moving back, a little bit maybe of rotation, moving the shoulder blades forwards and back as well. Very much a sort of organic approach to moving in this bottom position based on what your body and your joints will allow you to move into. And then we will continue the same thing but move up a little bit to that zone 2 area, spend a bit of time again here, and then finally up here. So how the exercise actually works is I'm constantly resisting the box. So I'll always be pushing myself into the box or pushing down into the box with my arms as if I was trying to press out of the dip position. So trying to press out of that bottom dip position. Now before we start, I'm demonstrating with a box. I'm going to place my hands here, but there's no reason you can change hand position, for example. So you could have your hands done on the outside. This could be done on a fists. This could be done maybe on a dip station as well. Doesn't have to necessarily be a box. These are all things that can be played with. So I'm going to give an example of a set and some of my thought processes as I'm going through it. So I like to load the first rep by just pushing down into the box. And as I'm pushing down into that box, I'm also lowering down in that dip fashion. I'm letting the elbows bend, letting the shoulder go into extension. I'm going to that bottom position where I feel my sort of end range is, where I feel maybe a slight stretch on the front shoulders, biceps, and this is where I'm going to begin. So I'm constantly now pushing down into the box. That effort of how much I push down into the box is a way to control the intensity. Then, as I keep that effort of pushing down, I'm moving around. So I'm moving from side to side here. That side to side motion I could also combine with maybe forward motion. That could be combined with backward motion. And essentially what I'm trying to do is work into as many areas as possible that my joints will allow me to get into. And then I'm trying to really challenge all the areas, especially weak areas. I don't want to avoid any areas that feel weak and vulnerable. So side to side motion, rotation, forwards and backwards motion. Essentially what I'm doing is moving my elbows above my hands in various areas. And then as I start to fatigue, I move into zone 2. I'm doing the same thing here, constantly pushing down into the box, exploring positions, moving around, assessing how things feel. And then once I spend a bit of time working in zone 2 and I'm fatiguing here, I'll continue. I'll come up a little bit more, and then I'll perform the rest of the exercise or the duration of the exercise here. So that's an example of a dynamic isometric. I demonstrated it starting in the bottom position and then working my way up. This could be 1 very slow rep, or it could be 1 to 3 reps depending on what the intent of the exercise is. This could also have been done from the top position. So I could start up here, move around a little bit, and then as I start to fatigue a bit, move further down into that mid-range position, and then my last zone could be that bottom of the dip position. So there's also that option to explore Whether you start from the bottom, work your way up, or start from the top and then work your way down.